Who is ready to fight the Civil War all over again? Hi, it's Mr. Producer, and on today's Fullerton Unfiltered podcast, it's North versus South, Blues and the Grays, Yanks and the Rebs, as the topic is the differences in lawn care on either side of the Mason-Dixon line. Your guest hosts for the discussion are some of the young guns in the lawn care industry, and the show is recorded during the Equip Expo at a giant Hype House collaboration. Speaking of Equip, it is not too early to save 50% on your registration for next year's big event. Simply use the link that we've provided in the show notes to save. And now, let's get to it.
You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no-nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Blake Steele of BDS Outdoor Services. We're all today hanging out at this Equip Hype House. Thanks to Brian that he sponsored this for all of us to stay at for Equip, and we're just making a podcast with a few of us. So let's see who all's here.
Hey there. So this is Tab Pauly with TNT Premier Landscape. I'm down in Jenks, Oklahoma. And then we have Blake here, like we just mentioned. And then next we have Tanner. So Tanner, if you want to introduce yourself here.
Yep, my name is Tanner Carney, and I'm with Palmetto Lawn Services down in Rock Hill, South Carolina. It's about 20 minutes south of Charlotte, North Carolina.
And we got one other guy.
Will Leroy from Leroy Property Service, and we're in Malone, New York.
So we got a little bit of variety here. Originally, it was going to be just a Southern Boys podcast, but Will Leroy here felt a little bit left out. So we went ahead and joined him in, which will be fun. We're going to go ahead and do some comparisons of the different climates and the different business types that the climates allow us to make down here, from comparing from the southern warmer climates compared to the northern frigid cold climate.
I feel like that'd be pretty good because, there's not a whole lot of people, I don't feel like, on Brian's podcast here that are kind of from the South and whatnot.
One thing we can talk about is for our southern people like me and Tab especially, we cut mainly Bermuda. The spring rush, that's not really a thing for us. We kind of have a summer rush for the growing season for grass. Like, I'm assuming it grows faster in the spring.
Yeah, it grows fast in the spring, and then it dies out,
cooler
as soon
weather.
As August comes around, you can start to tell the grass is definitely slowing down.
Yeah, that's a little bit kind of the opposite of us.
For us, 90-degree weather, and if it's raining and it's over 90s, we're getting a foot of growth a week.
It's insane. At least a foot of growth.
Yeah, like August is where we get a lot of that spring growth, I believe, in that kind of time frame there. And I'm assuming, Will, yours is in like April or so, right?
No,
maybe a little later.
Yeah, definitely later. We start mowing in May, and then it stays really busy till like the middle of July, end of July, and then in August you can definitely start to tell the grass slows down.
That's interesting, especially down here in Rock Hill. We're cutting pretty much until December at least. To be honest, we cut by year round, but we really don't slow down until about December.
The second the weather cools down for us down in Georgia, the grass is done. We had 1 week where it dropped below 70, and that killed my entire season. So, most of my properties are pretty much dormant already.
Yeah, that's kind of the same here. But what are some of the things you do in the winter kind of to get some extra money coming in? Or since you don't mow when it's obviously in the winter, and we don't get a whole bunch of snow. We maybe get a couple inches a whole year, but it's nothing like the northern states where we can actually make money plowing. So maybe what are some of the things you do in the winter to kind of get some money and whatnot?
Well, a big thing, especially if you are in a southern state where there's always work to do because weeds still grow, hedges grow, leaves drop. I really highly recommend pushing for seasonal contracts. Like, for example, I have out of most of my accounts, I have about 14 or 15 seasonal contracts, and it's a flat monthly rate, and it covers hedge trimming, leaf cleanups, mowing, and weed control. And it's a flat, like I said, it's a flat monthly rate, and that goes year round.
Yeah,
So
it comes in really handy during the winter months, especially when the grass slows down a little bit, and you can still make sure you get year-round money.
You kind of over the summer season, because you're not charging for each service, you make less
Yeah. You make all
overall,
your
but
money
you
in the
make it
winter.
back over the winter.
Yeah,
So, but you
especially.
still have money coming in year round, which is nice.
Yeah.
Another thing, I mean, leaf cleanups are big. You can try to really push for landscape work in the off season.
I will say though, compared to what I've seen up north, and Will, you can kind of bounce off of this, but the thing is, I feel like up north, a lot of y'all's leaves fall pretty fast, but down here where we are,
It's slow and
our
steady.
leaf season is 2 or 3 months.
Yeah, the leaves normally fall, right at the end of October, and then there's, snow on the ground by the end of November. So it's pretty short window to get a lot of work done.
And hope you don't get any snow on top of the leaves to
Yeah,
cover
hopefully
them up.
not. Yeah.
You get a lot of snow up there? Like how many inches do you think you get here?
Roughly around 100 inches, maybe give or take 20 inches each year.
Are y'all full maintenance for snow removal?
Yep. Yeah. Residential and then a little bit commercial.
Yeah. Do y'all do salt as well in-house, or do y'all sub that out?
Sub it out.
Sub it out?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
We get maybe an inch of snow in 5 years.
Yeah.
You
I was
get
about to
ice
say-
though, don't you, Blake?
Yeah, it's humid down in Georgia, very humid. So whenever we get snow, for one thing, we have no proper snow equipment. And when we do snow, it ices. So it kind of wreaks havoc on our town anytime we do. Like we'll get a flurry or so every year, but it normally doesn't accumulate. When it accumulates, it's bad.
Yeah, that's kind of the same here. I mean, we get a lot of ice, and then if we do get snow, there's already good inch or so of ice on top of or underneath that snow, and then that snow falls. So you're dealing with the little bit of like snow we get, and then you have that ice underneath. So there's not a whole lot of people that plow down in Oklahoma, but from what I've heard from a couple guys, if you plow in Oklahoma and when it does come down, you're making big bucks. But I bet that has a lot to do because there's not a whole lot of people who do snow down in Oklahoma.
People who do plow, I bet it's pretty profitable.
Yeah.
When you get some.
Most definitely,
But it'd be hard to try to keep that overhead cost
Yeah.
for the couple
Tav, is there a
years
lot of
if you
people
don't get
that
any
salt
snow.
in Oklahoma?
no, not really. The only people who really salt are like the counties and the cities, but even
DOT.
then they don't even salt. From what I can see, they put a lot of sand down. That's pretty popular on the roads. They just spread sand on there. I'm assuming that's to get some traction on there. But they use the plows to kind of chip away at the ice, and they'll throw down that sand. From what I can see, but I'm not an expert or anything, so I don't know if that's completely accurate. But from what I can tell, that's kind of what it looks like to me.
At Launchpreneur Academy, we believe in a community where success is amplified, not diminished by helping others. Introducing the Launchpreneur Academy Link membership, your ticket to a thriving lawn care business. Join our exclusive Launchpreneur Academy Link Facebook group where like-minded entrepreneurs share insights, advice, and encouragement. It's not just a group, it's a family dedicated to your success. As a Link member, you'll enjoy monthly hangouts to connect with fellow lawn care professionals, bidding hour calls to sharpen your business acumen, and enlightening lessons from industry experts in our monthly guest expert series. And here's the icing on the cake, our monthly group coaching calls where your specific challenges are addressed and you receive personalized guidance to excel in your business. Yeah, there's more. Gain exclusive access to the lessons from Brian, the mastermind behind Launchpreneur Academy. With call records, PDF recaps, and more, you'll have a treasure trove of resources at your fingertips. And as a special bonus, when you sign up now, you'll receive 3 training programs worth $200 absolutely free. Boost your productivity with our Productivity and Profitability Hacks training program. Learn the art of selling with our How to Sell More Customers and Close More Jobs training program. And discover the secrets of building a winning team with our How to Build Your Team and Legitimize Your Business training program. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to revolutionize your lawn care business. Join Launchpreneur Academy Link membership today and let's grow together. Visit launchpreneuracademy.com and sign up now or use the link in the podcast description. Launchpreneur Academy Link, your link to success.
But Blake, do you have any other guys who salt and plow up there?
No,
or-
we have no plow equipment, no salt equipment. So like I said, whenever we do get snow, it shuts down the whole town. I remember, it was probably 8 or 10 years ago now, but we called it Snowmageddon. We got, I think, 4 or 5 inches of snow,
That's insane.
and it was like a sheet of ice, and we had zero equipment, people got trapped on the interstate for like 72 hours. Like it shut down everything. People had to walk, like abandon their cars.
And even the DOT plow truck drivers don't even know how to drive, so they can't get no one out.
We got stuck in our neighborhood. We couldn't leave our house.
No, I can't
I
imagine.
mean, everything's a sheet of ice, and when we have zero snow equipment. And actually, after that storm, we did get some from North Georgia. They just keep it on standby now, but it's still not adequate. So whenever we do have a bad storm,
Yes.
I mean, it shuts down everything.
Do y'all up north? Do y'all use a lot of brine, or is it mainly salt, or is it sand? Like Pat was saying.
Yeah, so like the town and the county will use, definitely the town uses salt, and then the state on like the main roads will use salt, and people use sand too.
What does your equipment setup look like for that, for plowing and whatnot? Like maybe you could run through your equipment setup and stuff, just kind of give people an idea. But yeah, what's your plowing setup and stuff look like?
I have a Chevy 2500 with a Boss DXT 8.2 on the front, and then I have a John Deere 23 horse tractor with a snowblower on the front.
Is that a pretty big plow? Us Southern boys don't really know much about snow plows.
Yeah, it's like a pretty basic. It's pretty nice plow. All you need for residential driveways and small commercial stuff. So it works out pretty well.
Is it a V plow?
Yeah, it's a V plow. I definitely recommend if you're ever going to buy a plow, definitely get a V plow in stainless maybe too.
What advantage does a V plow have over the other? I guess you would. What would you call
like
it? Just a straight blade?
I guess,
yeah.
straight blade.
Yeah, with a straight blade, you can't stack snow. So
I
you
see.
have like where I live, we get a lot of snow. So it really limits to where you can put it. And with a V plow, if you can just stack it up a few feet, then it works out pretty well.
A V plow, you could push a little bit more instead of windrowing like a straight blade.
You can windrow with a V plow too, but like if you have to, push it up high, if there's not really much place to put it.
And
it
the
works
V
out
plow,
well.
you can kind of change the pitch. Like you can angle it, correct? Or is it kind of fixed?
You can kind of scoop with it,
Yeah, you can scoop with it. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
and then you couldn't obviously do that with a straight blade.
No.
Do a lot of companies up there use skid steers and stuff, or wheel blowers, or are they mainly trucks and plows?
Yeah, no, I mean, you'll see a skid steer from time to time at like a big commercial site, just, around the doors and whatnot. But mostly like the large players use like front end loaders, and they'll just have like a salt truck with a flatbed on it.
I bet that has a lot to do with like the area, because do you live in a high populated city, or maybe what's like the population there? Because
I live in a very rural area,
Yeah.
so it's
Pretty wide open.
Yeah, it's pretty wide open. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you go about setting those up? Are they all per push? Are they year long or
Yeah, I try to find a
contracts?
happy balance between both. Mostly my commercial sites are they're a seasonal contract, and then I will try to push for a seasonal contract for residential, but it's not a bad thing to have a per push contract too. So,
Yeah, a good balance.
Yeah.
Well, how many inches do you get on average per year?
right around 100 inches, I'd
Wow.
say, give or take 20 inches.
Can you imagine getting that much snow?
Jeez, I don't even know if I've seen that much in my lifetime.
Oh, geez, that's insane.
Yeah, but maybe we could kind of go through like our equipment and kind of what we got. Maybe you can start, Tanner, and just kind of, because we obviously don't have much snow equipment, so maybe you could talk about maybe your lawn care side or your
Yeah.
landscaping side and whatnot. But
Yeah. So for our regular lawn maintenance, we have a mow crew, and they got 2 Wright ZKs. They're both 61s on there. We got 2 Skag V-Rod 52s, and then we have a backup mower. It's like a Bobcat. It's one of the green ones, one of the older ones. It's a sit-down model. I can't remember exactly what it is, but we use that sometimes during the fall to pull an aerator. If it's a bigger property where we don't want to walk the whole thing. We were looking at getting a stand-on aerator this year, but they're so expensive. I don't know if I can justify getting one yet. We'll see.
No, I'm the same way. I do a bunch of aerations too, and
They're handy, but man, they're expensive.
I have a walk behind one, and it does what I need to do. And I mean, I don't have enough aerations to justify dropping 15 grand on one, but I mean, I have this $3,000 one, and you
But-
pay it off in one season.
I've seen there's some pretty good attachments you can get for your tractor. A lot of the big companies around here, especially the big commercial properties, they have I think they're like the air evaders or something like that.
Yeah,
they'll pull behind
I'm
their
looking
tractors.
into those.
yeah,
'cause
you just led into a good something there. So maybe, as you can kind of tell, Blake has a tractor. So maybe you can go into that, Blake, here and kind of tell everybody what you got.
Yeah,
that tractor.
we can do that. I have a Yanmar 425. It's a subcompact tractor with turf tires. they're not the best for grading or like dirt or hardscape work, but in terms of versatility, it's pretty hard to beat them. I mean, like, so especially for softscape, like mulch, rock, all that kind of stuff, it's perfect because it doesn't damage any yards. I can get aerator attachment. I do tiller. I mean, there's hundreds of different attachments you can do and stuff you could do. You can even get a mower deck for this tractor if you really wanted to.
Yeah, I can agree with Blake on having a subcompact tractor for landscaping work because, you know, you can move rock, mulch, you know, whatever material you have to, and you're not going to damage the yard at all, and it works out pretty well. If
you're looking for one piece of equipment that can do everything, I would really look into getting a subcompact. Yeah. I mean, they're very good for smaller landscape businesses.
Yeah, especially. But yeah, and then for our landscape crew, we have a crew that goes out and does a decent amount of softscapes, total tear out and reinstallations, design work, landscape lighting, and then a decent amount of irrigation repairs. We don't do any installations yet. That's something I'd like to get into, but that's a whole nother thing all in itself, and the equipment you have to have for that's a decent amount. And then we just recently got into spraying yards, so we have a 250-gallon spray tank that we put on one of the back of our flatbeds. It has a electric hose reel. It's pretty nice. We just recently got into that, so we're looking forward to seeing what we can do to expand that this coming spring.
Tell us a little bit about your profit, and you don't have to share exact numbers, but tell us a little bit of how your application side of your business compares to your maintenance side.
Yeah, like is that something that's easy for anyone to jump right into, or would you say maybe some more experience there? Or?
Yes and no. I mean, the knowledge behind it, you got to know your chemicals, you got to know what you can spray, where you can spray, and then what to spray on certain weeds and what to spray on certain grasses. Since we're in the transition zone, we have multiple different grass types. We got obviously your regular fescue, and then we got a good bit of zoysia and Bermuda yards, and a couple other warm season turfs. So you really got to know what you can spray on each of your lawns. A lot of our spray route is a good variety of warm season and cool season turf. So just for profitability's sake and just not having to go all the way back to the shop to switch out chemicals and clean the tank and refill it and then remix and stuff, we try to spray a pretty wide variety of chemicals that we can spray on multiple of our grass types. So stuff like, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Speed Zone, it has a lot of 2,4-D based in it, so you can spray that on a lot of your turf types and it won't hurt anything. So but yeah, you have to have a good bit of knowledge of your chemicals and stuff like that. But profit wise, there's a pretty good profit margin there if you invest the money to get a good spray tank and a hose and a reel instead of having to do everything with a backpack sprayer. Because even if you get one of the electric ones, the having to walk the yard with the little 2-foot pass on a big 10,000 square foot yard. We have pretty big yards around us, so most of them average about 10,000 square foot. It takes a while. Just a backpack spray yard, it'd probably take about 30 to really go through it thoroughly. It'd probably take about 30 to 45 minutes. So with the hose and reel, you could probably get it. I think we timed it. It was like 13 minutes or so. So it really cuts down on it a lot.
And then for applications, are you charging per application? Or are you doing seasonal? Because like my guy, like for our personal property, we have a guy, he does it annually, and you can pay per month or prepay for the year for some type of discount. What's working best for your business?
It all depends. It depends, honestly, if it's commercial or if it's residential. For commercial wise, since they got to approve a budget and stuff, usually at the beginning of the year, they like to know what they're going to spend for their chemical costs and obviously their regular maintenance. So that's usually included in our yearly maintenance price for commercial work. The thing about that though is if you get a summer where you get more rain than usual and you don't you have to spray a yard more than you originally anticipated in the years past, you got to obviously use more chemical and it's more labor. I mean, you'll feel more just general overhead costs. So you got to be a little more careful about that. But the nice thing is most of our residentials are just per application. So typically we spray about every 4 to 6 weeks. And this time of year on all of our warm season turf, we'll be putting down our pre-emergence. So yeah, it's a good variety. I will say having the having the regular year long, just where they prepay for everything, it's nice to cover some of the upfront overhead cost of chemical, and then getting the monthly payments for just the monthly sprays. It evens itself out a good bit.
Well, that's good to know. I mean, I'm considering getting into that. I don't think that's the direction I'm planning to take my business, but that's definitely lucrative.
Yeah, and getting the licensing and stuff is very important. I wouldn't recommend doing it if you don't have any of the licenses and stuff, but once you get that, it'll take you a world of places. So, but yeah, what kind of setup are you running, Blake?
So for right now, I'm predominantly solo, and then I have part-time help for like bigger jobs. Right now, mowing wise, I am running a 60-inch Skag Cheetah and a 48-inch Skag V-Ride 2. I've been very happy with both of those. And then for my landscaping side of my business, I have a dump trailer. I have a deck over 20-foot Diamond C. And then I also have that tractor I mentioned. And that's kind of where most of my landscaping work happens, is with that tractor and dump trailer.
Yeah.
And that's the direction I'm really trying to go with my business. I'm hoping within the next year or two to completely phase out of mowing. It depends if I can find good help. I'd like to keep my mowing. I'd like to get a dedicated mow crew. I don't know if that's going to happen or not yet. I haven't really decided. But like I said, for the most part, I'd love to go full-time landscaping.
Yeah.
I enjoy the project-based work a whole lot better.
Yeah.
And then I enjoy the bigger paychecks. I can't really deny that. But
I will say though, having that mow crew is nice because you get that consistent payments in every month. So I know the landscaping work's a little more inconsistent. You got to go out there and actually get it. So that mow money is,
and it gets your name out. I mean, when you have mow crews, people constantly see your company, 100%. And it helps you. It helps other people find you. At least it's lead generation more than anything.
Yeah, and with that mowing, you can get like those extra services like the landscape enhancements and whatnot, the shrub trimming. And I also heard from a guy, bit down in my town. He's a great guy, kind of a mentor of mine. And he said you can sell a mowing company, but you can't necessarily sell a landscaping company. So if you're looking for something in the future to sell, maybe as a retirement or whatnot, you can always sell a mowing company if you have good contracts and whatnot. But a landscaping company can be harder to sell because you don't have that recurring that recurring projects and stuff. That makes sense.
Hey, I guess in that case, you'd more so be selling the equipment and the contacts rather than the accounts, rather, like you would be in mowing.
Mowing wise seems to be more, after a certain point, mowing seems to be more on autopilot.
Yeah.
I mean, especially once you get your employees trained, your routes locked in. I think that's the reason for that, is mowing can be very autonomous in a way versus landscaping. I mean, every project's different. It's very hard to become to automate that. That's kind of very hands-on.
If you have a large landscaping company and you have, if you have a few guys that knock out, 80 yards in a week, that's, reoccurring revenue. That's, if you're going to wait for, larger checks on larger projects, it's money in the bank that you didn't necessarily have.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like for us, we mow about 115 yards a week, and those are all year round. And we have a good bit of commercial work in there. So, especially getting that commercial shrub pruning and like good landscape enhancements, it will definitely help carry us over through the winter. So,
speaking of your 115 accounts, what did you do? Or what was your most beneficial way of generating new accounts?
I would say Google reviews is honestly probably one of the top performing ways that we market. After we finish any one-off job or even just all of our reoccurring customers, we just shoot them a message with a link attached to our Google My Business page, and we kind of bribe them a little bit. We'll offer them a 10% discount if they'll go ahead and leave us a review, because it takes time out of their day, but it really does help us out, and it does so much in the end for us. So it's not like we're paying just random people or paying our customers to do it, which I know that's against Google's guidelines, but just offer them a little bit something just to show that we appreciate them taking their time out of their day to leave us a review. Really goes a long way.
Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. But no, Instagram as well. We get surprisingly a good bit of work off of Instagram. And then we have a website as well, but we need to get that redone through.
What I was going to say
is branded bull.
Yeah, I might be looking at them too for mine. if you pay attention to your Google traffic, every positive review you get for your page, your monthly number of viewers goes up.
I looked last month. We got like, I know just last month, but we got like I think 8 or 9 new reviews last month, and it brought it up like I think it said like 160%. It's crazy.
Nothing benefits your Google page more than reviews.
Reviews and photos. I will say if you update and have fresh photos on there, because honestly, that's not it's not something that a lot of people do because just like us, they get busy. But if you update your photos, you can really go a long way.
That combo really brings your Google page up. It's like I've been really focusing on my Google page, and I'm number 3 on my my SEO my area.
That's awesome. That's pretty hard to do. That's awesome.
So that's worked for me. But like especially my town, because I'm in a really small town. If you search up lawn care companies near me, I'm number 3 on the list right now.
That's awesome.
And it's just from getting reviews and updating photos.
Yeah, it goes such a long way. Mm-hmm. Tab, how about you? What are you running, and how's your business looking at this time of year?
Yeah, so most definitely. So real time, it's here. It's about October, so everything's kind of starting to die out here in October. We switch over to leaves here shortly when those start to fall. We really enjoy leaves. We hit those hard. The leaves for our area are kind of like snow for the northern people.
Yeah.
Once they're there, we have to jump on them.
And your season, I'm sure, is just like ours. It's a couple months, which is nice. It definitely helps replace some of the mow money that slows down a little bit.
If you need help with leaf cleanups, talk to this guy. I've never met someone that likes leaves more than Tab.
Dude, I love leaves.
You got a sick leaf sucker.
Dude, leaves are all about you have to have the proper equipment. You have to buy the proper equipment because you can't be out there with a rake and some bags. You just can't. You really can't be out there with.
I mean, you still use a utility trailer for leaves.
Hey now. It works though. It keeps everything.
What do you have? Do you have the leaf dragon or?
No. So I'll go into that real quick. I have a Billy Goat 18 horsepower leaf loader. Picked that up. Last year was our first year with it. I put about 20 hours on it or so. That thing is amazing. If you're looking into a leaf loader, I would suggest the 29 horse. If you can find it, I know I've talked to a couple people, they've had a hard time finding that 29 horse. But if you have the time, you can order one.
Is that the pull behind one?
No. So these are all ones that we mount up on a, I welded up a bracket for it. And then like Blake was saying, last year I ran it on a utility trailer, just a standard 7 by 16. I built a leaf box on that. It was about a 10 by 10, I believe. So 10 long, 10 foot high. And then that way I built it like that so I can put a mower on the back so I can use that as a leaf plow. But this year I just redid our setup. So we got a 16-foot, 4-foot high side landscape trailer. I know those aren't very common, but a lot of folks run those down where we live. So I built that box. It's
I have a question.
What's up?
How do you unload that trailer?
Well, I was about to get there. So let me finish off on that trailer real quick because I know a lot of people probably might be interested on it, but it's a 16-foot utility trailer, 4-foot high sides. So I plywooded up the sides. And then this year I decided to do PVC pipe instead of building a 4 high side box on it. That way it'd save on weight. So
does that sacrifice the structure of it at all? Because I know leaves that it gets heavy, especially when it's wet.
No, I don't see how the PVC would get affected by the leaves. If anything, it would just fill up. But yeah, like Tanner was asking how we unload that. So we put a pallet up front of the trailer, and then I wrap a tire around the back to take some stress off the pallet. I put a ratchet strap around that, and then we run a chain from the pallet to the back of the trailer. And then at our dump, they have big concrete blocks up there. So we hook up to the concrete block, and then we that pallet and chain just pulls it out. So it pulls it out like a big old leaf cube. I call it like a leaf loaf. And that's a good way. I mean, every single person in town runs a setup like that. I've seen maybe 4 or 5 people with a dump trailer.
That's interesting.
Once you try it, though, you won't want to go back.
Yeah, I know.
Does your city municipality not suck up the leaves around you?
Nope.
Man,
nope.
We get lucky around here. All we gotta do is put them to the street, and they'll come suck them up.
I've seen
that's where up in New York. That's how it goes.
That's how it is for y'all.
Yeah,
that's how it is for me. Leaf cleanups aren't from. unless I'm just doing something wrong, which that's likely, leaf cleanups aren't very lucrative for me. Because most of my properties are all wooded, so customers, a lot of customers I have, they actually enjoy doing leaves themselves. So after mowing's done, I'm pretty much done for the season. Or leaf cleanups, I can just blow into the wood, so I'm done in 2 hours. So I can't charge that much for that. And then all the neighborhoods where leaves are required to be, or they do need to be taken off, the county does that.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, here in Oklahoma, there's at least in my area, I haven't seen any city trucks or anything pick up the leaves. I know that's pretty common. I hear that from a lot of guys. They're like, well, we can just blow the leaves to the curb and whatnot. But I haven't seen that. So we invested in the loader. We used to bag the leaves with a mower and then just throw them in the truck bed. But that took forever. But as soon as we got that loader, we could tell we could really start seeing the money in leaves because it's so productive. But I mean, there's a few we can mulch them up and then just blow them into the wood line. But most of the time we're blowing all those to the curb because I think it leaves a better finish and it looks more more uniform on the yard. And then for how we kind of do leaves, we offer a couple of different services. We can do bi-weekly, or not bi-weekly. We can do twice a month for leaves, which I guess that would be bi-weekly.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it has. And then we can do we do twice a season, so maybe right when the leaves kind of the half the leaves have fallen off the trees, and then one big cleanup when they're done, or we do just one big cleanup at the end. I like the one big cleanups at the end. That way we're out there less. And
do you do anything different price wise when you do the different?
Yeah. So for when we do the 2 cleanups, we require the customer to pay the full price for the cleanup. That way because we've had a couple times where the customer's like, yeah, we'll pay, or we'll do the 2 cleanups when they're half down, and then they only pay for the half down, or they wait for the full down, but they get that half down price. So what we're going to do this year is we're going to have everyone pay, for that 2 service up front, and then we'll just come out there when they're half down and then when they're all the way down. But yeah, that's kind of how we do our leaves.
Do you pick up any leaves that maybe y'all don't actually blow, for example? Like any properties that y'all don't maintain? Do y'all just receive calls and go pick up and just suck up piles?
Oh yeah, so curbside pickup, that's a pretty common one as well. You can make really good money on that because you can be at a pile for 10 minutes and
it don't take long, especially with that machine y'all got.
Yeah, I actually like those a lot because I mean, I offer that as curbside pickup. I say the customer blows them to the curb or puts them on the curb.
How does it do with with sticks and little twigs and stuff like that?
I mean, anything decently small you can send through the loader. But if it's like a big log or something,
will it suck it up or just leave it on the ground?
It will, but it's probably not too good for the machine.
I can't imagine.
So I don't send it through. It is a debris loader. They mark it as you can put some like bigger stuff through there, but
Dog toys and stuff.
Do you use it for spring and fall like cutbacks and stuff like that, or shrub pruning to chop up your clippings?
See, I could, but last year I haven't because we only had one trailer at the time, so we had to take the box off and then just get that trailer ready for mowing. But this year we have a couple trailers, so we're going to keep that leaf box up.
That'll be nice.
For those cutbacks and whatnot, like you were saying. Because last year we found ourselves wishing we had that box instead of hand loading.
That'll save you a lot on dumping fees too, because you could load a whole lot more in there.
Yeah, well, actually, we get lucky with the dump fees because we have a free green waste dump. So any leaves, we can go dump as many times as we want. Any green waste like grass, we can go dump all that for free because the place we dump it, they just return it back into dirt. So they recycle all that. And it's just a green waste place. So
that's convenient, huh?
Yeah, most definitely, because we can just take grass, anything but sticks out there and dump it for free.
Man,
that's kind of how our leaf setup is. And then we have that was a 16-foot trailer we got for the leaf setup, and then we have an 18-foot mowing trailer. 2 GMC or a GMC 2500 and a Chevy 2500, and then we got about 3 John Deeres, 254s, a 36, and then we got a 72 Hustler. Right now it's me and my twin brother, so there's 2 of us. We're still in high school, so kind of building out our schedule's a little difficult. We service about 65 weekly customers, We could go anywhere from commercial to residential. We even do a little bit of roadside mowing in city parks.
Some people think 65 customers isn't a lot, but talk a little bit about your property sizes.
Yeah, so we're a little bit unique. We have quite a bit wide open areas. We do a lot of acreage. We have a section in town where we do about 40 acres spread against 4 houses or so. So about each house is about 10 acres. We don't have a lot of small yards. Like I know, like in the cities, like the big cities, like Chicago and whatnot. I know those yards are pretty small. But we target more of the bigger yards because we found there's kind of a niche there. We really like to get on those big yards, park the truck for a little bit, and be there for a little bit longer than those smaller yards because window time in a truck's a killer, as we all know.
But it's pretty profitable too, just being able to park the truck in one spot and kind of knock out a bunch of yards.
Yep. Really big thing is route density. I always try to. That's like advice if someone asks me or something. I always suggest try to build some route density because like I said, that window time's a killer. In money wise, but yeah, that's kind of how we are.
So now, Will, so we kind of talked about your winter side and your snow removal aspect of your business, but what do you do during the summer and what kind of equipment do you run and what's your business kind of look like?
So this summer we do probably about 50-50, maybe a little bit more landscaping. We mowed 2 days a week and we landscaped 3 days, mowing about 40 yards, give or take. If some people just want, like one-time cut or, it's like an overgrown property or something, we might take care of that too. But I have a Skag V-Ride 2 stand-on and I have a Ferris sit-down with a bagger on it, which is very helpful in the fall with leaves. And I have a 23-horse John Deere tractor, and that's great for softscaping, and it works okay for some hardscaping jobs.
Do you use that tractor for snow removal at all or no?
Yeah, we have a snowblower for it. It works all right for small driveways. It's really good for sidewalks.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. So on your landscape aspect, do y'all do full design work or what do y'all kind of do there?
So we're slowly getting into the hardscaping work. Most of the stuff I've just kind of, sketched out and, brought a design to the client just myself. And then we do softscaping too, like plant rip out and redos and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
A lot of mulch.
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
Yep.
Do y'all do much outdoor lighting, landscape light at all or anything like that?
Not yet. I'd like to get into that. That's pretty niche market, but that'd be pretty good to get into.
Especially this time of year when the days are getting shorter, everyone likes to at least think that the days are staying a little bit as longer with some outdoor lighting.
Yeah, if you spend a lot of money on a nice landscape and and it gets dark at 5 o'clock, what's the point if you can't see it?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's something I've always kind of wanted to maybe look into because, like you said, there's not a whole lot of people who offer it. At least in my area that I know of. But we do quite a bit of we do a little bit of landscaping design. We haven't done a whole lot of hardscaping, but that's one of the things I'd like to get into. I'm also wanting to get into irrigation installs because that's another thing. It's like a niche market, if you will, and everyone wants to have green grass, obviously, and down in Oklahoma when it gets pretty hot.
Hot and dry.
Yeah, that grass can dry up pretty quick if it doesn't have water on it. But like Blake was saying, if it has water, it's going to grow, especially in those hot temperatures.
Speaking of that, I'm not sure if you had the same circumstances, but I believe my season this year got cut short because near the end of the season, we had a major drought. I mean, it didn't rain probably a good month and a half, and then it got cold. So the grass was just done. If we were getting consistent rain, I would probably be mowing into November.
Yeah, but I can relate with that. Our past, I don't think besides, I think right when I left here to come to equip, I drove through a little bit of rain in the mountains of North Carolina, but at least where I'm at in South Carolina, we haven't had any rain in at least 6 weeks. But the nice thing is a lot of our yards are irrigated, even though they are pretty big. A lot of our commercial accounts too are irrigated, so I always make sure that they keep those on all year. Our winters don't really get cold enough to where we gotta do blowouts or anything. But if any of our customers do request that we do irrigation blowouts, we can obviously do that for them. But a lot of our aerations and overseedings this year have really been delayed because of the drought and us not getting much rain. Even the yards that are irrigated, because we haven't had any rain, if we irrigate them, the ground just dries right up. So it's been hard trying to juggle around working one around the heat, because we really haven't cooled off much until like I was saying right when we left. I think today when I left it was 45 this morning when I left, and when we got here in Louisville it was about 50 degrees or so. So it finally cooled off a little bit. So I'm looking forward to hopefully when we get back we can start knocking out the good portion left of our aeration.
Yeah.
So we'll
Over
see.
the past 2 weeks there, I mean, like you saying, right before I left to come here, and last week it's starting to get cold. It was starting to get a little chilly down there.
Yeah. How about you up in New York? Y'all pretty cold up there?
Yeah, it's been pretty cold. Very cold mornings in the 30s already. It's already, October real time if this is going to get published.
Yeah. That's crazy. I can't believe that. When do y'all usually get your first snow?
We can get some snow in October. It's definitely not going to be plowable snow, but we've definitely had snow in October before. And then, depending on, year to year, we'll definitely get, first plowable event in November if it's, start of November, if it's the end of November. But normally that doesn't stay. But when we get snow towards the end of November, beginning of December, it stays until like the middle of March.
Middle of March, yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't melt. It's like snow on the ground all winter long.
So is there like an awkward, like just where the snow is melted, but it's still too cold for your grass to start growing? Is there like a little awkward phase between there or anything?
There is, because you'll have the majority of the yard will be,
moldy?
Yeah, it'll be wet and damp, but where you've plowed snow, there's going to be a snowbank that's 4 or 5 feet high. You really can't do anything because you got to wait for the ground to thaw out and everything, and you got to replace the yard if you've hit it with the plow, something like that. Because I know it snowed in November before, a foot or two, and the ground's not frozen, so you end up digging up a little bit of grass. So.
Yeah. What do you kind of do if there, like you said, there is that little bit of buffer that you need to fill? What do you kind of do to fill in that? Yeah,
there is, because it's like, honestly, just make sure everything in my business is ready to go for the spring. Yeah, because
working on your business instead of in your business.
Exactly. Yeah. So if there's that downtime, I'm not going to waste time. So if it's making sure if I can, follow up with a few clients, if they want to leave a Google review, if, I'm, posting a few Facebook ads, something along those lines.
Yeah. Well, now that this current 2023 season is getting close to an end for most of us here, what are some of your goals? And I'm not sure if you've thought about this, but what are some of your goals going into next season that you'd like to accomplish or achieve?
Maybe delegate my mowing route so I can step out of my mowing route. So this year, we did 40, 45 yards. If I can grow that up to, 50 or 60 yards and have, another guy take care of that. And then I can go and, tackle more, larger softscaping and hardscaping jobs. I think that'd be a pretty good goal to have.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. What about you, Tab? What are some of your goals for next season, if you've thought about them yet?
Yeah, so most definitely. I want to, each year I want to double over. So next year I want to be around the 100 to 120 maintenance counts, mowing wise. I want to get into more of the HOA mowing.
That's pretty lucrative if you can hit it right.
Size. Yeah, I hear they're hit or miss with the money and price wise. Because I hear they can be on the cheaper side, but if you get in there, you can get the good ones. But yeah, I definitely want to try to get into more of those HOAs and commercial side, grow the mowing side, and then I want to get into more landscaping. We got into quite a bit this year, but with still being in high school, it's kind of hard for us to balance out the landscaping and the mowing to try to fit it in with our high school schedule. But we'll be graduating next year, so I definitely want to grow into more landscaping. And then, like I said, I want to get into some irrigation work, irrigation installs, and then just the slight repairs. And then, what about you?
Well, yeah, Blake, why don't we pass it on to you? What are some of your goals that you might have for this coming season?
Yeah, sure. So I'm currently sitting at around 45 to 50-ish mowing customers.
Okay.
I'm pretty content with that. I will next season, like I said, I'm almost focusing all my effort right now on landscaping and hardscaping. That's really the direction I'm trying to grow in. I'm averaging, I'm not sure a good way, but I'm averaging about 12 jobs a month. Like
That's not bad.
landscaping,
Yeah,
hardscaping
I see what
wise.
you're trying to say. Yeah.
I'd like to do. I'd almost, or here's a better way to put it. Right now, I'm mowing 4 days a week, landscaping too. So I'm working Monday through Saturday, and I try to give the company Sundays off. It's less stress on everybody to have a day off. Next season, I'd really like to do 3 and 3. So 3 days landscaping, 2 days mowing, then work up to 4 days landscaping, 2 days mowing, and then just keep going up, and then 5 days landscaping, and maybe have the weekends off.
I see.
So
It's going to be a slow and steady transition.
Yeah.
would you delegate your mowing to someone else, or would you try
drop
to
it.
just try to get right out of it?
So it all depends on the direction mowing goes. I'm starting to get more commercial properties, and I'm enjoying those. I'm going to still push for commercial properties to grow my mowing side. And if I do that, I'm going to try to find some help. Because like
Yeah,
I said,
because I don't know about you, Blake, but it sounds like we're kind of like in like the same, our businesses are kind of in the same place. Like with me, like most of my landscaping jobs have kind of come through, some of my lawn care customers.
I'm the other way around. Most of my landscaping leads have came from just advertisement in Google.
Yeah.
A lot of my landscaping work or mowing have been completely separate aspects of my business.
Sorry, we had an interruption.
But I don't know. Each one to me has almost felt like a separate side of my business.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure some of y'all have dealt with this. It's hard being the lawn care guy.
Oh,
especially
absolutely.
when you're advertising for higher end work like landscape construction or hardscape.
Or tractor work, like you have your tractor,
it's
like brush
harder.
hogging and stuff like that.
It's hard to get that kind of work from your lawn care customers because
most-
they're like, let's say they need a retaining wall. They're going to go for someone who
Does retaining
who
walls.
calls themselves a landscape contractor. They're not going to call their lawn care guy to do that.
And because we're all younger here, we're not older than 19, or 8 or 20, I guess. So I mean, I feel like it's kind of we've grown from the smaller guy. I feel like we all kind of started out as a younger kid. So I feel like kind of some way those customers kind of see us as like the younger guy, and they don't
underdog.
The
necessarily
original customers
they necessarily
still try
don't-
to walk on you.
Yeah.
They still think it.
Yeah, they
use
don't-
That
they don't necessarily think we can do the higher end work or the retaining walls or stuff. Just 'cause
Yeah, they just think of you as a younger
mow guy.
kid. The
the
young
mow
kid
guy
that
with a push mower.
exactly.
I will say though, and I don't mean to interrupt y'all and just push my goals onto y'all, but some of my goals for this coming season was to, instead of grow the business like service wise, I really want to grow the actual like business and process side of our business. Really teaching my guys, and they're pretty good about it. We have a pretty strict vetting process when we hire employees, and we're really thorough, and we really try to explain to them what we expect of them and what our company culture is before we even hire them on. But for any of our new guys that we'll be hiring on this coming spring, and then really just trying to dial in some of our existing crew that we'll carry out throughout the winter. But just really trying to push our company culture on all of them. And just trying to really work together as a team. They're amazing right now, but like every business, there's definitely improvement on everything. So just trying to really get that put together before we continue growing anymore, because I feel like once we get our company culture and once we get a really good team put together, it'll really make scaling and growing the actual business side of it a little bit easier. For all
build
of
a
us.
brand and build like a
Absolutely.
great reputation.
Absolutely, because reputation, just like y'all know, reputation is everything. So without a good reputation, it's really hard to grow a business. And reputation could obviously be your work, but it can also be how you impact your community and how your guys represent you to your customers, especially because I'm not able to be with them every day, especially with the mow crew and the landscape crew, since I'm mainly out spraying yards.
Reputation's a very
Reputation
crucial part.
is very important.
One thing many companies make the mistake of, and we were actually talking to Caleb Alman about it today. Well, we're at Equip right now. We're at the opening ceremony. One thing that will separate you from 90% of companies is just something as simple as picking up the phone.
Exactly.
If someone calls, call them back, and that does wonders because most people don't. And that's one thing that'll separate you. Being responsive when a customer reaches out, they text you, responding back right away. If there's a problem, you try to fix it as soon as you can. Just everything you can to have top-notch customer service separates you from other companies.
Yeah, reputation's great because, I don't know who I heard this from, but just recently I was definitely heard on a podcast, like if you have, if somebody has a bad experience with your company, they're going to tell, maybe a lot of people. And then, if somebody has a pretty great experience,
they're not going to tell anybody.
They're not going to tell anybody.
Maybe
exactly.
but one person.
Maybe
but
one
bad
person.
experience, they're going to tell 10. If they have a good one, they're going to tell one.
Yeah, at best.
Yeah.
And then those 10 people are going to say they heard this somewhere. And,
you would much rather have
it's just a snowball effect.
Absolutely. And like Blake was saying when we were talking to Caleb today, we brought up a really good point. And he said that he heard this from Paver Pete, but any of those customer relation issues, for example, if a shrub or something dies, or if a irrigation drip line busts that wasn't originally warranted or in the original contract after they did the installation, they'll put that in their marketing budget because they don't want them to ruin their reputation by, even though that they know and you as the business owner know that you're not in the wrong, just covering your butt and just honestly just taking care of the customer.
There's also a fine line too, I would say.
I will. Yes,
you can tell whenever a customer's out to get
if they're being genuine or if they're just trying to take advantage of you. So
I had a customer. Here's an example. Charge for flat rate for one thing. You're doing landscape work. Don't charge by the hour.
Yeah,
that complicates things. But we had a landscape install where we had to install 15 yards, I believe, of wood chips, just natural wood chips in this landscape or this customer's landscape beds. And I brought out he hired professionals to do it. So I brought out on my tractor and 3 guys. We moved 15 yards in 3 hours. The customer was upset and wanted a refund because we did the job in 3 hours.
But you had $50,000 more than that, including your truck. You had probably 80 to $100,000 worth of equipment sitting there, which say, because I don't have a skid steer or anything like that yet, that'll be a purchase for the spring. So say we went and did that job, with 5 guys and a couple wheelbarrows, or even if we rented a machine, you still obviously have to pay for that rental.
Mm-hmm. It's stuff like that will happen. I mean,
you can't
definitely please everyone.
You can't charge. And I know, just like me, everyone's learning as you go, and some things you learn the hard way. But
you charge as a landscape business. You charge for results.
Exactly.
You don't charge by the hour. You have to explain that the job will look the exact same way if we took 3 hours with a tractor or 10 hours with a wheelbarrow.
100%.
Yeah, you charge for your job and your experience doing the work.
Exactly, because there's a reason that they're calling you and they're not going out there and doing it themselves.
Yeah. For sure.
Definitely. So Tab, I meant to hit on this earlier, but I was able to graduate a year early due to COVID, and I did some online school, and I really got lucky. So I graduated when I was 17. I just recently turned 18. So I was just recently out of school. But you're still in school. So how is it trying to juggle running a full-time business with technically being a full-time student?
Yeah, it can most definitely be hard. But this year is my senior year, and I just have 2 classes before I graduate, so I decided to go ahead and do those online this year. That's really helped out a lot. But I'm actually in welding school, so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that'll come in handy.
yeah, most definitely. I've built so many things.
That was the same thing for me. Last year I'm out of school this year. But last season, I did it almost entirely online. I only went physical for 1 class, and that helps more than anything. If you're a young student and you can somehow, if there's either work-based learning or you can do online school. It works wonders to grow your business.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, Tab. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, but no, yeah. I mean, I'm in welding school, so that's just from 7 to 11 each day, Monday through Friday. So then after that, I'm just going straight to the mowing, and then I actually have a twin brother, and then he's still in high school as well, and then he plays high school football. So that takes up a good bit of time, but he doesn't have many classes as well, so our schedules align pretty perfect. So I go to school in the morning, he goes out and mows, and then by the time I'm home from school, I meet up with him, and then we just kind of swap because then he goes to football practice and does all that.
Yeah.
So it works out pretty well, and then we just have to work weekends. It's just what it is.
Gotta do what you gotta do,
Yeah.
especially if you get some rain, huh?
Yeah. But
yeah.
we try to do the residential Monday through Friday, commercials on Sunday because no one's at the commercials, and I think it's kind of easier. You can get in and get out. Don't have to worry about cars or people
Absolutely.
going in and out of the businesses and whatnot.
And the liability reasons,
Yeah.
you got to worry about someone walking out of at least for us, we do a good bit of just smaller businesses.
Yeah.
So someone walking out accidentally hit them with we got shoe blocks on our mowers, but someone accidentally hitting them with a weed eater or something like
Yeah,
that.
there's even blowing off all the properties.
Definitely.
You can clean up a parking lot real nice.
A little pebble can blow
Yeah.
onto a car too and
Yeah.
chip it. So
Yeah,
you got to be
well,
careful about that.
Maybe if we, before we wrap things up, if we go around the room and, say if there's one thing, each person has that, grew their business, there's, one piece of advice they could give to someone, our age or even younger that would help them, scale a business properly or, however, you think.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and start off? Just go off around the room here.
All right. Yeah. So one thing that I think would, is definitely helpful is, is good customer service. So that's worked out well with me. If so-and-so calls, down the road and, they, want an estimate for a landscape and, you tell them that you can be there at Thursday at 5:00. Well, you better show up at Thursday at 5:00, because you don't want to, show up at 6, without letting them know or, something like that.
Yep. Stuff does come up, but as long as you communicate.
Yeah.
with them.
Just have proper communication, with your customers and, be professional. If you're going to say you're going to do something, do it. If, go above and beyond, their standards, if you will.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I would say honestly, something that's really made me think was, I would say this is something that I try to live by the best I can, but in my personal life, not just in my business life, but just to treat others how I would want to be treated, not just my customers, but my team and my employees. If they're doing a job that I wouldn't want to do, then I'm not going to make them do it. And if they do got to do it, then I'm going to make sure that they have the right equipment and the right skills and the right knowledge to get the job done efficiently and to the standards that they know that I would hold them to. And then in my personal life too, just making sure that that at least for me, my motto for my business is striving to exceed the expectations of your property while bringing glory to God. Our business is based off of our faith, and I'm not going to push anything on any of y'all. I don't know what y'all's beliefs are, or any of the other listeners too. But just making sure that I'm holding myself accountable to the same authority that my guys are holding me accountable to, and then same to my customers. So like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to make sure kind of like what Will was saying. If I say I'm going to do something, make sure that I show up and I do it.
Do the work that you would do. How you would want it done for your clients.
And if it was your own property, if you're not gonna half butt something, it's gonna be done to the best of our abilities and to the best of that we can do.
I guess for me is do stuff that separates you from other companies, especially stuff like don't skimp out on quality. If there's leaves, I'm talking about simple stuff like a lot of people overlook. Like if this time of year, if you're cutting yard and there's leaves on the yard, blow off the yard. It takes extra time, but it looks a whole lot better when you're done.
That client just might, if you didn't do that, maybe they wouldn't, recommend you to, one of their friends or one of their neighbors or something like that.
Do the stuff that other
things.
customers won't do. It's the little things people notice. It's not the big things.
Especially this time of year.
If you stripe a yard beautifully, customers but customers will notice the spot you forgot the weed eat.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just how it works.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll totally ignore the stripes, but they'll see that one edge that you forgot to miss, one of the flower beds or something simple like that, around the light post in the middle of the yard. Something simple always.
It's the little things. I guess another thing I would say too is equipment wise. I know landscapers with, nearly $1 million businesses, but all their equipment's old, beat up, and they have tons of downtime because everything's always broken down. I would say try to stay debt free. I mean, that's always the best way to run a business. But at the same time, do not skimp out on equipment. I would say having newer equipment, high quality equipment that makes labor easier for you and your employees, it really benefits your business more than anything else.
Yeah. And I think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. But for example, this is year 4 for business, and I've never had a single breakdown on any equipment because I always buy new stuff. I take care of it. I stay up on maintenance, and that's crucial for downtime. I mean, if one of my mowers goes down or my tractor or something, the amount of money that I would lose from that is critical.
Yeah.
And if you can spend the extra amount to get the quality equipment you need, it really benefits your business.
Yeah, and I think Brian says, I know he says it. He says that he harps it in almost every episode, but to reinvest as much as you can, as fast as you can. And when I was young, I didn't believe it until I really started to realize I really needed a need for newer and nicer equipment as my business grew. So, for any of y'all, maybe new first year or so in business, I know it's hard, and I know there's so many other things that you got to reinvest in, but especially equipment wise, I would recommend reinvesting as much as you can and as fast as you can, and not just in equipment, but like Brian's whole ball of wax and all the educational things as well. And over at Caleb Alleman, if you're going to get the landscape stuff, he has the Hardscape Academy over there. So also the knowledge base behind everything, not
the
just
best
equipment.
investment you can make is investment in yourself.
Absolutely.
I'll play devil's advocate real quick though. To what you're saying too, don't reinvest recklessly.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Because I know a lot of people, especially, that they'll buy brand new mower, brand new skid steer. They don't have the work for it, so they don't have the money for it, so they take out debt.
But
then
they
they'll
got the
get something
payments.
else. They got more debt. You get caught in that loop, and you can't make any money because you're having to pay all that stuff off. I don't personally. I buy everything in cash, and if I can't buy it in cash, I don't think my business is ready for it yet.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I see it. Unless it's something like crucial, like when I went from a Canyon to a 250. So that altered my business completely. And to me, there's good debt, but at the same time, just you really have to think your decisions through and don't reinvest recklessly, because that is the fastest way to destroy your business is getting yourself in too much debt.
Absolutely.
Like hands down.
Absolutely. And we've done everything completely debt free, from all our trucks to our trailers to equipment, everything to our shop. So everyone has their own opinion, but at least for us, we do everything completely debt free.
Yeah. So, well, it just looks like we hit just a little bit over an hour here. So let me just try to wrap this up real quick here. But there's so many things I could say about any advice to the guy just starting out. But one of the things I would say is keep a clean image. Invest in a uniform from day one. They're not very much. You can get a nice printed T-shirt from a local print shop with your business name on them, and just match. If you have a couple guys, just match. That goes a long way. It sets you apart from a little bit, especially if you're a younger guy. Just that's where I'd start. Kind of get a nice looking uniform, and then just keep a clean truck.
Clean your trucks.
Yep.
Make sure your trailers aren't rusted out. Make sure your tires match.
Just wash them.
Yeah.
You don't want to pull up with a muddy truck down the side like you just got off of a mud plane. But yeah, just keep a nice looking uniform on. Just always have your name out there. But then I'm kind of gonna go what against Blake said on don't necessarily buy used stuff or buy. But I think you can get some good Facebook Marketplace deals. You don't need to go out and buy the nicest thing.
Sure.
But you can use Facebook to your benefit.
You just got to be smart about it.
Definitely. You don't want to go buy 400,000 mile truck
Or a mower with 3,000 hours.
Yeah, you can, if you wait and you look on Marketplace, you can find good deals.
I'm more meant if you have a mower with 3,000 hours
Yeah.
and it's in the shop more than it's
Gotcha.
being used, you need to invest in something.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, but
sure.
I certainly think you can use Marketplace to get some good deals. But yeah, just start out there, get a nice mower, something that'll last, and just keep a clean image and just call back your customers and answer the phone and always set money aside for marketing. Invest into marketing. You don't necessarily need the nicest mower, but marketing will get you that nice mower. So
Also, always have an emergency fund.
I was just about to say that. That's funny.
Don't drain your account. I always try to keep a certain threshold where I know in case something happens, I'll be covered for a few months.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. So starting with you, Will, what's some ways that people can find you to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, so I have a Google My Business listing, which is just at Leroy Property Service. I'm on Instagram at Leroy Property Service. And yeah,
Can you spell your first name?
Leroy.
All right, and that's property service or
Yep.
services?
Service.
Okay.
Yep.
And then what about you, Tab?
So yeah, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and Google. You can check us out there at TNT Premier Landscape. Might have LLC on there or not, but just TNT Premier Landscape, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah, you can reach us out there, and we'll be glad to help and with any services or any advice or whatnot. But
Okay, perfect. And then what about you, Blake?
You can find me at BDS Outdoor Services on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, and Facebook. So
Okay.
I'm try to be on all the platforms.
Yeah, you're on all of them. And then mine is my business page is Palmetto Lawn Services. I believe it's one word.
now, how do you spell that? Because that can be a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, for some reason, don't want to name any names, Tab, but he can't figure out how to say Palmetto or spell it. But it's Pallmeto, Palmetto Lawn Services.
My hometown is actually like, or where most of my business is in a town named Palmetto, actually. So it's easy for me to remember.
Yeah.
It looks like on your hat there's two T's.
Oh my goodness, you're right. Oh my god,
even spell your
I
own
can't
name.
believe I can't
Oh,
even spell my
come
own
on
name.
now.
All right, just Mr. Producer, cut that part out. But it's Palmetto Lawn
you go.
Services. But yeah. So, anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode, and we look forward to reaching out to y'all soon.
Before you turn off the podcast, there are two things that we believe you will be highly interested in. First, if you're looking to stay up to date with the latest trends and insights in the world of lawn care, then you'll want to subscribe to our free email newsletter. It shows up in your inbox 3 times a week and includes a Monday motivational to kick off your week, a Wednesday what's new to keep you informed, and a Friday weekly recap of all the content we put out. The second thing is we have just launched Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Now you can be a part of an exclusive community that links you to those who can help you grow in your lawn care business. Joining Lawntrepreneur Link will give you the tools that you need to stay accountable, get real-time expert advice, and find belonging in a community of folks who are passionate about the lawn care industry just like you. Visit LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com to learn how Link membership gives you unique access to monthly hangouts, bidding hour calls, coaching calls, expert lessons, and more. Stay ahead of the curve and level up your business with a membership to the Lawntrepreneur Academy Link. Find an easy-to-use link in the podcast description.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.